The encounter the night was heavy on the ruined planet. The air smelled of smoke and dust, and the broken buildings looked like skeletons standing under the pale moons. A human soldier walked slowly through the rubble, his boots crunching against shattered glass. His rifle was tight in his hands, eyes moving left and right. He was tired. The war had been long, too long. Every corner of this world had seen fire, and every shadow might hide danger. His commanders told him again and again, do not trust them. The aliens are liars, killers, tricksters. Show no mercy. And he believed it. Or at least, he tried to. But something about tonight felt different. The silence was too deep. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then, from the corner of his vision, something moved. He turned instantly, rifle raised, finger ready on the trigger. From behind a broken wall, a small figure stepped out. Not a soldier, not a fighter, a child. Body was thin, too thin. Her skin had a faint blue glow, like moonlight trapped under the surface. Her big dark eyes stared at him, filled with fear, but also something else, hope. Her hands shook as she held them out. The soldier froze. His heart beat faster, not from fear but confusion. A child? Here? Why? Then the child whispered, her voice, broken, weak, almost like she had not spoken in days. Please. Human, she said. Her accent was strange, words heavy, but he understood. She swallowed hard, and her lips trembled. Just one bite for my sister? The soldier did. Not move. His finger tightened on the trigger. His training screamed at him. This is a trick. It must be a trap. The enemy uses tricks. Do not listen. Do not care. But his eyes stayed on the child. She was shaking so badly, her knees almost giving way. And in her arms, he saw something wrapped in cloth. A bundle. No, another child. A younger one. The second child was even weaker. Her breathing was shallow, lips dry, her small body too still. The soldier's chest felt heavy. The older child looked at him again, and her voice cracked with desperation. She cannot move. Please, one bite. The soldier's mouth was dry. He thought of his ration pack in his bag. Hard bread, dried meat. Enough to last him for 2 more days. Not much. But to the child, maybe everything his mind argued with his heart. It's the enemy. They are not human. You cannot give them anything. If command finds out, you are dead. If this is a trap, you are already dead. And yet, when he looked at the child's eyes, he remembered something. A small face from long ago. His sister. She had died on Earth, years before the war. Hunger had taken her before medicine could reach her. He had been too young, too weak to help. The soldier's throat tightened. Still, he didn't lower his weapon. Not yet. The alien child stepped closer. Very slow, very careful, as if afraid he would shoot. Her arms held the smaller child tightly, protecting her. Her lips moved again, but her voice was almost gone. Human, please. The silence around them grew louder. The soldier could hear his own heartbeat. His hands trembled, though he tried to stop them. His mind kept saying, trap, trap, but his heart whispered something else. She's only a child. She's begging for her sister. Could a trick look this real? He took one slow step back, unsure. His weapon was still raised, but his eyes were softening. The child stopped walking, waiting, watching him with wide eyes full of fear. For a long moment, nobody moved. The ruined world around them stood still, as if even the broken walls were waiting to see what he would do. Then, faintly, the smaller child in the bundle made a sound. A weak, tiny cough. The sound of someone close to death. The older child clutched her sister tighter, tears shining in her eyes. Please, only one bite, She will die. The soldier's chest felt like it was being crushed. He lowered his rifle just a little. His eyes locked with the child's. In that moment, he realized something terrifying. This was not a soldier standing before him, not an enemy, not a trickster. This was just a sister, and she was begging for her family's life. Asterisk the soldier's dilemma. The soldier did not lower his rifle completely. His hands were steady now, but his mind was a battlefield. His heart pushed him in one direction, but his training screamed the other. He had heard all the warnings before. His commanders had repeated them like a prayer. Aliens use tricks. They cry, they beg, they pretend to be weak. But when you turn away, they strike. He had seen comrades die because they hesitated, because they believed a lie. And yet this did not feel like a lie. The child's eyes were too raw, too broken. She was shaking, not because she wanted to strike, but because she was close to collapse. The bundle in her arms stirred weakly, the smaller child barely alive. That was not an act. That was death waiting at the edge. The soldier swallowed hard. His finger hovered above the trigger, but he could not press down. Not this time. He took a careful step forward. The child flinched, clutching her sister tighter. Her glowing eyes widened in fear, but she did not run. Running took strength. She had none left. Why me? The soldier muttered under his breath. His voice sounded too loud in the silence. Why here? Why now? He was a soldier. His job was to kill, not to save. His world had no space for pity. Pity was weakness. Weakness was death. But his eyes kept falling on the younger one, wrapped tight in cloth. Her face was so small, so fragile. Her lips were cracked, her breath shallow. Each rise and fall of her chest was slower than the last. The soldier remembered again his own sister. He had been young when she starved. He remembered her tiny hands clutching his arm. Her whisper, just one bite. Please. The memory cut deep, like an old wound reopened. His jaw tightened. His grip on the rifle loosened. Slowly, he lowered the weapon, but he didn't sling it away. Danger was always near. The alien child blinked at him, confusion mixing with hope. She did not speak. She only waited. The soldier reached behind, unhooking his ration pack. He pulled out a small piece of bread, dry and rough, not much. But to her, it was everything. He hesitated. This was the moment. If she grabbed for his weapon, if she attacked, he would die. He knew this. He should not risk it, but he extended his hand anyway. The child's trembling fingers reached out. She did not snatch. She did not attack. She took the bread carefully, as though afraid it might vanish. She looked at him once more, eyes wide with something close to gratitude, and then she turned to her sister. The younger child's lips opened weakly. The older one tore the bread into tiny pieces, softening them with her own mouth before pressing them gently to her sister's lips. At first, nothing. The soldier's chest tightened. Maybe it was too late. But then the child swallowed. A faint glow spread across her skin, brighter than before, like warmth returning to a frozen body. Her breathing grew steadier, her chest rising with more strength. The soldier stared, stunned. This was no ordinary hunger. Human food was healing them. Human food was life, a secret, a dangerous secret. If command knew, they would use it. Not with kindness, but with cruelty. They would starve the alien race into obedience, or worse, turn it into a weapon. The soldier's heart raced. What had he just done? The older child looked at him again. A single tear slipped down her glowing cheek. Her lips moved. Thank you. Human. 2 words. 2 small words that hit harder than any bullet. For a brief moment, the war outside did not exist. It was just him, and two starving children who wanted nothing but to live. But reality snapped back fast. A faint hum filled the air. The soldier froze. His training returned like a hammer. He knew that sound. Patrol drones. His blood ran cold. They were close. Too close. He looked around. The night was no longer silent. The buzzing of the machines grew louder, their searchlights sweeping the ruins. They were hunting for survivors, for rebels, for anyone hiding. And now for him. If the drones saw him with the alien children, there would be no questions asked. No court, no trial. Just execution. The soldier cursed under his breath. He grabbed his rifle again, swinging his head left and right. He had seconds, maybe less. The child looked at him with panic in her eyes. She knew too. Her people feared the drones as much as humans did. The soldier had a choice. Leave the children here and escape, or hide them and risk everything. His pulse thundered. His throat felt dry. His instincts told him, save yourself. Walk away. Do not die for them. They are not yours to protect. But then the younger child coughed again, softer now, but alive. Alive because of him. His sister's face flashed in his mind, her begging eyes, her voice. Just one bite? He clenched his jaw. Decision made. Come on, he whispered harshly. He knelt down, motioning for the child to follow. The older one hesitated, but when the drone's light swept closer, she rushed to his side. Holding her sister tight, the soldier pulled them into the shadows of a broken building. The buzzing grew louder, the beam of light cutting across the wall, just inches away. He pressed his back against the cold stone, his breath slow, steady, forcing his body to stay still. The child's small hand gripped his sleeve. He could feel her trembling through the fabric. The light passed. The drone moved on, but there were more. Always more. The soldier knew one thing with certainty. From this moment, his life had changed. He was no longer just a soldier. He was a protector. And if anyone found out, he was a traitor. The first bite. The ruins were quiet again. But the soldier's heart was not. His chest still pounded from the passing drones. The glow of their lights had burned across his eyes, leaving streaks of white in his vision. His body stayed tense, every muscle ready for a fight that thankfully did not come. But the danger had not passed. The real danger was sitting right beside him. Two alien children. Weak, helpless, fragile. And yet, somehow, heavier than the weight of his rifle, heavier than his orders, heavier than all the battles he had fought. Before, the older child sat close, clutching her sister tightly. Her glowing skin looked dim in the dark, but her eyes never stopped watching him. Half fear, half trust. The soldier hated it. Not because of the fear, but because of the trust. He had not earned it. He had only given them a small piece of bread. A mistake, maybe. A crime, definitely. But that small act had changed something. Something dangerous. The younger one stirred in her sister's arms, her breath just a little stronger than before. But her skin still looked pale, her body too thin. She would not last long. The soldier knew it. The older child knew it. And worst of all, his commanders would know it too, if they saw. They would not look at these children and see weakness. They would see a weapon, a secret, a tool to use against the enemy. Human food gave the aliens strength. Human food gave them life. The soldier's hands tightened around his weapon. If command finds out, this war will become something worse. He should not have fed them. He should have walked away. But it was too late. The older child broke the silence first. Her voice was soft, almost broken. She needs more. Please. The soldier looked at her, then at the younger one. Her lips were moving faintly, as if trying to form words that never came. Her small hands twitched, reaching for something that wasn't there. His chest tightened again. He cursed under his breath. He reached into his ration pack. Another piece of bread, his last strip of dried meat. He stared at them for a long moment, his stomach twisting. If he gave these away, he would starve before the next supply drop. But if he didn't, the smaller child would not live to see the morning. The soldier held out the food. The older child's hands shook as she took it. She broke it carefully, piece by piece. She chewed slowly, softening it, then pressed it against her sister's lips. This time, the younger one swallowed faster. Her small chest rose higher, her eyes flickering open for the first time. They glowed faintly in the dark, weak but alive. The soldier felt something inside him shift. He had seen so much death in this war. Soldiers falling, civilians burned. Entire cities reduced to ash. But this tiny act of life was something he had almost forgotten existed. The glow spread through the younger child's body, faint lines under her skin like light moving through veins. It was not natural. It was not human. But it was beautiful. The soldier could not look away. The older child smiled faintly. It was small, tired, but real. She looked at him again. She will live. The soldier said nothing. He only nodded. Once, quickly, before glancing around. His instincts never slept. The drones could come back at any time, but his mind was not on the drones. Not anymore. It was on the truth. If human food keeps them alive, what else could it do? Make them stronger? Faster? Could it heal their wounds? The possibilities were endless and terrifying. He could already imagine his commander's face if he reported this. A smile cold and sharp. A plan forming. Starve them until they kneel. Feed them only when they obey. Use hunger as the leash. The soldier clenched his jaw. No, he could not let that happen. But what could he do? He was only one man. A single soldier on a dying world. And yet, the children's eyes made him feel like more. The older child reached out suddenly, her small hand brushing his sleeve. He flinched, instinct pulling him back, but he didn't pull away completely. Her voice was so quiet, he almost didn't hear it. Why you help? The soldier froze. Why? He had no answer. Not one he could explain. Not one that made sense. He thought of his sister again. Her voice, her eyes, the way she had begged. Because, he whispered, his throat tight. Someone should have helped before, but no one did. The older child tilted her head, not fully understanding, but her eyes softened. She nodded once, holding her sister tighter. The soldier looked away, ashamed. He was breaking every rule he had sworn to follow. But for the first time in years, he did not feel like just a soldier. He felt human. The silence did not last. The ground shook faintly. A low rumble rolled across the ruins. The soldier's heart jumped. He knew that sound. Not drones this time. Something heavier. Enemy patrol. Armed. Searching. He cursed again, pushing himself up quickly. He motioned to the children. Quiet. Stay down. The older one obeyed instantly, lowering her sister into the shadows. Her glowing skin dimmed as she pulled cloth tighter around them. The soldier crouched low, rifle ready, eyes scanning the broken street. The rumble grew louder. Boots. Heavy. More than one. He pressed his back against the wall, every nerve alive. If they found him with the children, he risked a glance. 4 alien soldiers moved through the rubble, their weapons glowing faintly in the dark. They were searching, sweeping their lights across the ruins. The soldier's breath slowed. He could take 1, maybe 2, but 4? And protect the children at the same time? Impossible. The older child's eyes met his. Fear. Desperation. Trust. The soldier's grip tightened on his rifle. His mind raced. He had to choose. Fight and risk their lives. Hide and risk discovery. Or sacrifice. The footsteps grew closer. The light swept across the walls. His pulse thundered in his ears. The children huddled closer, silent tears on their cheeks. The soldier closed his eyes for a moment. Then he whispered to himself, "No more running. Not tonight." Asterisk dangerous discovery. The soldier held his breath. His back pressed against the broken wall, his rifle tight in his hands. Just a few meters away, 4 alien patrol soldiers marched through the ruins. Their armor glowed faintly, their strange weapons buzzing with a deadly hum. Each step they took sent a vibration through the ground. A sound of trained killers, not children, not civilians. Fighters. The soldier risked a glance. Their eyes glowed sharper, harder, not like the children's soft light. These were predators, hunters, and they were hunting him. The older child clutched her sister in the shadows. Her eyes begged him to keep them safe, but she did not make a sound, not even a whisper. Her tiny fingers dug into the stone, as if silence alone could shield her. The soldier's heart pounded. He had survived ambushes before, faced fire, crawled through mud, but this was different. This time, he wasn't fighting for his own life. He was fighting for theirs, and that made everything more dangerous. The alien patrol leader stopped. His head tilted, his ears twitching. He raised a hand, and the others froze. Their lights scanned the area, moving closer to the wall where the soldier and the children hid. The soldier's pulse hammered. If the light touched them, it was over. No excuse, no mercy. He raised his rifle, finger trembling near the trigger. He could shoot first, but then what? One shot would bring the other 3. He would die. The children would die. The light swept nearer. Nearer. The soldier's throat tightened. He pressed himself harder into the wall, willing himself to vanish into the shadows. Then the younger child coughed. It was small, weak, but in the silence of the ruins it sounded louder than thunder. The soldier's blood ran cold. His eyes shot toward her. The older child pressed a hand over her sister's mouth, but it was too late. The patrol leader's head snapped around. His eyes narrowed. He barked something sharp in his alien tone. The soldiers raised their weapons, moving in formation toward the sound. The soldier swore under his breath. No more hiding. It was now or never. He stood. His rifle roared. One alien dropped instantly, sparks flying from his armor. The others scattered, shouting. Energy bolts lit up the night, slamming into stone, burning holes through walls. The children screamed softly, ducking down, shielding each other. The soldier moved fast, rolling behind cover, firing again. Another alien fell, but the other 2 were closing in, their weapons humming hotter. Asterisk. He knew he couldn't win this fight. Not with them. Not with the children. He had to run. The soldier grabbed a smoke grenade from his belt, pulled the pin, and threw it hard into the open. A thick cloud burst across the street, swallowing the ruins in darkness. "Move!" he hissed, reaching for the older child. She hesitated, then trusted him. She let him pull her up, her sister still in her arms. Together, they rushed through the shadows, the sound of alien soldiers shouting behind them. Asterisk. Bolts of energy cut through the smoke, lighting up the darkness. One blast struck near the soldier's leg, throwing dust and fire. He stumbled, but kept moving. He didn't think. He only acted. Every step was a choice between life and death. The ruined street twisted into a collapsed building. The soldier dragged the children inside, crouching low, leading them through broken halls. The sound of the aliens' pursuit grew fainter but still followed, echoing through the ruins. Finally, they reached a hidden cellar. The soldier shoved rubble aside and pushed the children inside. He followed, pulling the stone back over them. Darkness swallowed them whole. Only the faint glow of the children's skin lit the space. The older one's breathing was heavy, her arms still clutching her sister. The younger child stirred weakly, but she was alive. The soldier leaned against the wall, his chest burning, sweat running down his face. Asterisk, that was too close. Too close. The older child looked at him, her voice trembling. They find us? The soldier shook his head. Not here, not yet. But he wasn't sure. He had killed two. That would not go unnoticed. The aliens would search harder now. They would send more, and when they searched, they would find not just him. They would find the children. That truth gnawed at him. He had made a choice the moment he gave them food, a choice that could not be undone. Now he was tangled in something bigger than himself. If the aliens discovered humans could feed their children, everything would change. The war would shift. Humanity would weaponize the secret. The aliens would slaughter to protect it. And he? He was the only one who knew. The weight of that truth pressed down like armor, made of stone. The older child's eyes glowed in the dark. She whispered, "Why you fight for us? We not your people." The soldier stared at her. He wanted to say, "Because I'm tired of killing." He wanted to say, "Because I see my sister in you." But all he said was, "Because someone has to." Her eyes softened. For the first time, she reached out, her small hand brushing against his. Not fear, not suspicion. Trust. The soldier felt the warmth of her glow against his skin. It burned. In a way, his rifle never could, but the moment was shattered by a new sound. A deep, metallic hum, louder than before. The ground trembled beneath their feet. The soldier stiffened. He knew that sound too well. Not just patrol soldiers this time. Walkers, machines. They were searching the ruins with heavy steps, massive lights cutting through. The smoke. The aliens were not just hunting anymore. They were cleansing. The soldier cursed under his breath. He tightened his grip on his rifle. His eyes darted to the children. They were watching him, waiting for him to decide their fate. He felt the weight of the entire war on his shoulders. The secret he had uncovered, the lives he was protecting, the orders he was breaking, all of it balanced on the edge of discovery. Discovery was coming. The rumble grew louder. Dust fell from the ceiling. The walls shook. The soldier raised his rifle. His heart was steady now. His choice had been made the moment he gave that first bite of bread. He was no longer hiding. If they wanted the children, they would have to go through him. Asterisk the bond. The cellar was dark, heavy with dust and silence. The soldier sat with his back against the cracked wall, rifle across his knees. His breath was steady now, but his eyes did not close. A soldier never truly rested. Not here, not in war. The children huddled near him. The older one still held her sister close, whispering softly in her own tongue, words he did not understand. But the tone, he knew it. Comfort, protection, the voice of someone refusing to give up. He had heard that same tone once before, from his mother, when bombs fell on his city back on Earth. Words may have been different, but love sounded the same. The soldier turned his head, watching them in the faint glow of their skin. He still couldn't believe it. He had fed them, hidden them, fought for them. 2 alien children, the very beings he was ordered to destroy. And yet he felt no regret, only weight. A heavy, dangerous weight that pulled deeper with every passing second. The younger child stirred, her breathing less shallow now. She blinked weakly, her glowing eyes opening for the first time fully. She looked at him. Not long, not strong, but long enough for her small lips to move. A whisper. One single word. Human. The soldier's throat tightened. The word wasn't sharp. It wasn't filled with hate like the ones he had heard on the battlefield. It was soft, curious, almost grateful. The older sister pressed a finger gently against her sibling's lips, urging her to rest. But she looked at him too, and this time her voice was clear. "She know you save." Asterisk, the soldier looked away, uncomfortable. He wasn't used to thanks. Soldiers weren't thanked. Soldiers killed, fought, obeyed. Gratitude belonged to others. Not him. He gripped his rifle tighter. "Don't thank me," he muttered. "It's not over yet." The older child tilted her head, studying him with those strange glowing eyes. She didn't fully understand his words, but she understood his tone. For a while, silence filled the cellar again. The distant thuds of alien machines echoed faintly above, but they didn't come closer. Not yet. The soldier reached into his pack. He had almost nothing left. One more piece of bread, a small flask of water. Barely enough for himself, let alone 3 mouths. He sighed. Then, without thinking twice, he handed the bread to the older child. She blinked, surprised. Then slowly, she broke it in half. She gave the larger piece to her sister, the smaller one to herself. She didn't keep any extra for herself. The soldier frowned. He wasn't sure if he admired her or pitied her. Maybe both. Why? He asked. Quietly. She looked up, confused. He pointed to her sister, then to her own mouth. Why give her more? The child's eyes softened. She hugged her sister tighter, speaking with a voice firm despite her weakness. "She lived before me." The soldier felt his chest tighten again. The words were broken, but the meaning was sharp as a blade. She would sacrifice everything for her sister, even food, even life. He looked down at his rifle, his reflection, faint in the metal. He thought of his own sister again, the one he had lost long ago. He remembered her hands, so small, so weak, begging him for food he did not have. He closed his eyes. The memory was a scar that never healed. But now, maybe this was a chance. Not to bring her back, nothing could, but to do for these children what he had failed to do for his own blood. He opened his eyes and spoke firmly. "No, you live too, both." The older child blinked at him, surprised at the sudden strength in his voice. For a moment, she almost smiled. The soldier handed her his flask. She hesitated, then took a sip. Then she carefully helped her sister drink. When the younger child finished, she leaned against her sister, eyes fluttering shut again, but her breathing was steady, alive, stronger. The soldier exhaled slowly, relief washing over him. He hadn't realized until now how much he wanted that child to survive. Asterisk, he leaned back against the wall, staring at the cracks in the ceiling. He whispered to himself, "What am I doing?" He was no longer a soldier. Not really. Soldiers obeyed. Soldiers followed orders. He had broken them all, fed the enemy, protected them, fought his own war. But when he looked at the children, he didn't feel like a traitor. He felt human, more human than he had in years. And that was the most dangerous feeling of all. Because mercy could kill him faster than any bullet. The ground shook again, louder this time. The alien machines outside were moving closer. Their search was tightening. The older child's eyes widened. She looked to him, fear breaking her brief calm. "They come." The soldier stood quickly, rifle in hand. He moved to the cellar's edge, ear pressed against the wall. The machines were moving in rows, sweeping the ruins. If they searched this building, they would find them. And if they did, the soldier's jaw clenched. He had to move them. But where? The city was crawling with soldiers and drones. He turned back to the children. The older one was staring at him, waiting, trusting him completely. That trust felt heavier than his rifle. He knelt down in front of her. His voice was low, firm, but not unkind. "If you stay, you die. If you follow me, maybe live. Do you understand?" She nodded instantly. No hesitation. The soldier nodded. Back, he admired her courage. She was just a child, but in her eyes burned the same fire he had seen in veteran soldiers. A fire fueled not by orders, but by love. He motioned for them to be quiet. Then he pushed the rubble aside, slowly, carefully, until a thin line of moonlight cut into the cellar. The world outside was waiting, cold, cruel, watching. The soldier breathed in deep. He whispered one last thing before stepping out. "Stay. Close. Do not stop. No matter what." The older child nodded, clutching her sister tight. The soldier raised his rifle, eyes scanning the ruins. The machine's searchlights swept across broken towers, burning through the smoke. Their heavy steps made the ground tremble. The soldier stepped into the shadows, the children behind him. Asterisk, every movement now was a risk. Every sound could mean discovery. But he no longer walked as one man. He walked as protector. And the bond between them, fragile, new, impossible, was stronger than fear. The war had made him a soldier. But these children, they were making him something more. Asterisk, betrayal and choice. The soldier moved carefully through the ruins. The children closed behind. The older one clutched her sister tightly, her glowing eyes darting around the shadows, always alert, always afraid. The soldier's boots crunched softly on the rubble, his rifle steady in his grip. Every ruined street felt like a trap. Every flicker of light could be a drone. Every vibration in the ground could be the alien machines searching for them. But none of those dangers were what he feared most. The true danger was closer. It came when he turned a corner and froze. Another human stood in the shadows. A soldier. His soldier. Same uniform, same rifle, same war-torn face. For a long, heavy moment, the two men just stared at each other. The soldier's blood turned cold. His finger twitched on the trigger, but he didn't fire, because the other soldier had already seen them, the children. The older one gasped softly, pulling her sister closer. Her eyes filled with terror. She didn't understand the human words, but she understood danger when she saw it. The new soldier stepped forward slowly, his rifle lowering. His voice was sharp, cutting through the night like a blade. "What the hell is this?" The soldier said nothing. His mouth was dry, his chest heavy. The man's eyes narrowed, flicking from the children to the ration pack hanging at his side, then to the crumbs near the younger child's lips. His jaw clenched. Asterisk. "You fed them," he said, not a question. A verdict. The soldier stayed silent. The other man's lips curled in disgust. "You've lost your damn mind." The soldier gripped his rifle tighter, his knuckles white. His voice was low, calm, but filled with steel. "They're not enemies. They're just children." "Children?" The other man barked out a bitter laugh. "You think that matters? They're aliens, monsters. Our orders are clear. Kill them, all of them. Every last one." The soldier's stomach twisted, but he held his ground. His voice came out harder. "This time, look at them. Do they look like monsters?" The other soldier sneered. "That's how they trick you. Soft eyes, small voices, and then they stab you when you turn around. You know it. I know it. We've buried men because of it." The soldier's jaw clenched. He wanted to deny it, but he couldn't. He had buried men who hesitated, men who believed. But these children, no, they were different. He knew it. He felt it. "They need me," he said firmly. "They need you?" The man stepped closer, anger burning in his eyes. "You're a soldier. You don't get to decide who lives and who dies. That's command's job. You're nothing but a weapon. And right now, you're pointing the wrong way." The soldier raised his rifle slightly. Not aimed, but ready. The tension snapped tight like wire between them. The children huddled closer, their glowing eyes wide. They didn't understand the words, but they could feel the danger. They could feel the bond between the humans breaking. The other man's eyes narrowed. His voice dropped into a whisper, cold and sharp. "You know what happens if I report this. You'll be shot for treason. Buried in the dirt you've chosen over your own people." The soldier's chest tightened. He knew it was true. If command found out, his life was over, but so were the children's. His mind raced. Fight or plead? Convince or kill? The silence stretched until it felt like the ruins themselves were holding their breath. Finally, the other man raised his rifle. Not at the soldier. At the children. The older one gasped, clutching her sister tighter. "Step aside," the man growled. "Do your duty." The soldier's pulse thundered. His body moved before his mind could catch up. He stepped between the rifle and the children, his own weapon snapping up. "No," he said, his voice like iron. The other man's eyes widened. For a second, disbelief froze him. Then rage filled his face. "You'd point your gun at me? Your brother in arms? For them?" The soldier's voice shook, but not from fear, from something stronger. "They're not the enemy. Not anymore." The man's finger tightened on his trigger. The soldier's finger did too. One breath. 1 second. One choice. The ruins shook again. This time not from soldiers, not from walkers, but from something bigger. An explosion ripped across the city, sending fire and smoke into the night sky. Both men flinched, their aim breaking for just a moment. Shouts echoed in the distance. Alien voices. Patrols closing in fast. The soldier seized the moment. He slammed his shoulder into the other man, knocking him back into the rubble. His rifle clattered away. The man roared, swinging his fist. It smashed against the soldier's jaw, sending stars across his vision. But the soldier fought back. Years of war, years of survival, all poured into every strike. They grappled in the dust, each trying to reach their weapon. The children cried softly, pressed against the wall, powerless to stop the storm between the humans. Finally, the soldier pinned the man down, his rifle in his hands, the barrel aimed between his comrade's eyes. The man froze. His breath came, heavy, his chest rising and falling beneath the soldier's knee. His eyes burned with hate. "Do it," he spat. "Kill me. That's what you've become." The soldier's finger trembled on the trigger. His heart pounded. He had killed before, countless times. But this was different. This was his brother Dash in Dash Arms Dot. And yet, if he let him live, the children would die. The choice tore him apart. Kill a comrade to save the children, or let the comrade live and become their executioner. His mind screamed, his chest ached. The world narrowed to a single pull of a trigger. The older child's voice cut through the storm. "Human," she whispered, her eyes wide, glowing softly in the dark. Please, not a plea for her own life, not for her sister's, but for him. For the soldier, she didn't want him to become something worse. The soldier's hands shook. He looked down, at the man beneath him, then at the children, then at himself. Finally, he made his choice. He didn't fire. Instead, he slammed the butt of his rifle into the man's head. Hard. The man went limp, unconscious. The soldier stood, breathing hard, sweat dripping down his face. His hands trembled, not from weakness, but from the weight of what he had done, and what he had not done. He turned back to the children. They were still there, waiting, trusting. The soldier whispered to himself, his voice breaking, "There's no going back now." Above, The alien patrols closed in. The city burned. And the soldier knew his betrayal was complete. He was no longer fighting for humanity's orders. He was fighting for something greater, not for them. Asterisk, the heart that won the ruins burned. Fire lit the sky like a second sunrise, black smoke twisting. Into the stars. The air was thick with the smell of ash and blood. The soldier moved fast through the rubble. The two children closed behind him. Every step echoed with the sound of pursuit. Alien walkers thundered in the distance, their heavy steps shaking the ground. Patrols shouted orders, lights cutting through. The smoke. The city was closing in on him like a steel trap. The children were exhausted. The older one's legs trembled with every step. Her arms clutched tightly around her sister. But she did not fall. She did not complain. She followed. Always followed. The soldier's jaw tightened. He had led men into battle before, but never like this. Never carrying lives so fragile, so innocent, so alien. And yet these two were his mission now. His war. But there was another danger. A greater. One. The unconscious soldier he had left behind would wake. And when he did, he would tell command everything. That was the betrayal that could not be hidden. The soldier's own people would soon be hunting him. The chase, the soldier led the children into the shell of an old factory, its roof half gone, its machines twisted and broken like corpses of iron. He pushed them into the shadows, crouching low, rifle ready. The ground shook again. Lights swept across the ruins outside. Alien voices echoed closer. The older child's hand reached for his sleeve, trembling. Her glowing eyes were wide with fear. The soldier pressed a finger to his lips. Silence. For a few tense moments, they were only shadows. The patrols moved past, the thud of boots and the hum of weapons vibrating through the walls. When the sound faded, the soldier finally allowed himself a breath. But it was short, shallow. Danger wasn't gone. It never was. He turned to the children. "We move, now," the older one nodded. She said nothing, but her eyes spoke. "We trust you." The soldier wished he could trust himself as much. The commander, they didn't make it far. The sound of boots. Human boots this time. Familiar. Close. The soldier spun. Rifle raised. From the smoke, a group of human soldiers appeared. And at their front his commander, tall. Cold eyes. A voice like steel. The soldier's stomach dropped. The commander's gaze went from him to the children. Silence fell heavy as stone. The commander's face did not change, but his voice carried like thunder. "You have broken every order. You fed them. You protected them. And now you hide them. Do you deny it?" The soldier's grip on his rifle tightened, but his throat was dry. He said nothing. The commander stepped closer, his boots echoing on the broken ground. His men raised their rifles, aiming at the children. The older sister pulled her sibling close, her eyes wide with terror. The commander's voice cut sharp. "Step aside. Do your duty, or be cut down with them." The soldier's chest ached. His mind raced. He was standing on the edge of two worlds. One step back, and he was a soldier again. Obedient, safe, alive. One step forward, and he was a traitor. Alone, dead. He remembered his sister's voice. The begging, the hunger, the silence that followed. He looked at the children, their small, glowing faces, the trust in their eyes, and he knew his answer. No. The word hung heavy in the air, louder than any gunshot. The commander's eyes narrowed. "You would throw away your people for them?" The soldier's voice was firm, steel wrapped in fire. "They are not the enemy. They're children. And if we kill children, then we are the monsters." The commander's face twisted with disgust. "You speak weakness, mercy. There is no mercy in war. Only victory or death." Asterisk the soldier raised. his rifle not at the children, not at the aliens, but at his own commander. The world froze. His fellow soldiers stared, their rifles trembling. The commander sneered. "You don't have the courage." The soldier's finger hovered near the trigger. His heart pounded. Every second stretched into eternity. Behind him, the younger child stirred weakly. Her small voice broke the silence. "Human," she whispered. "Thank you." 2 words, soft, fragile, but they cut through the night like a blade. The commander's sneer faltered. His men shifted, uncertainty breaking their rigid stance. The soldier's voice was steady, stronger than ever before. "Listen to her. She is not your enemy. She is not mine. The real enemy is the war that makes us blind." Asterisk, for the first time, silence cracked the commander's certainty. Doubt flickered across his cold eyes. The choice. Then, chaos. A blast shook the factory. Alien. Fire ripped through the roof, the night exploding with heat and light. The human soldiers scattered for cover, shouting orders. The commander roared in fury, his command broken. The soldier seized the moment. He grabbed the children, pulling them into the shadows. His voice was low, urgent. "Stay behind me." He fired, not at his own men, but at the alien patrols storming through the ruins. Energy bolts slammed into the walls, sparks flying. For the first time, the war lines blurred. Human and alien fire mixed, the battlefield a storm of chaos. The commander shouted again, but his men hesitated. Their eyes kept darting to the children, glowing softly in the dark. They had heard her voice. They had seen her weakness. And in their hesitation, something cracked. Not victory, not defeat. Something different. The heart that won. The soldier stood tall, his rifle blazing, the children at his back. Every breath burned, every muscle screamed, but he did not fall. He was not fighting for orders anymore. Not fighting for territory. Not fighting for flags. He was fighting for life. For mercy. For something beyond war. The children's glow lit. The shadows, soft and fragile, yet strong enough to make hardened soldiers pause. The commander's shouts grew weaker, drowned by the chaos. And in that chaos, a seed was planted. A thought. A question. If mercy could live here, even for one moment, what else could be possible? The battle raged on, but something had already changed. Not in the guns, not in the fire, but in the hearts of those who saw. The soldier knew he might not survive the night. The children might not survive either. But their story would, because sometimes one act of mercy was more powerful than an army, and sometimes the smallest voice whispering thank you was enough to melt a soldier's heart and perhaps in time end the war.